Hey YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man, and today we're going to be doing another light novel review. Let's get started. Today we're reviewing Log Horizon, Volume 1. There you go. This is by Mamare Tono. It's illustrated by Kazuhiro Haka, I think. Hara, not Haka, sorry. Kazuhiro Hara. It's published by Yenon. It has this, big oversized kind of size to it, or like a trade paperback size, I guess, but like skinny. Yeah, it's published by Yenon. Like I said, its genres are adventure, fantasy, sci-fi, and it has game elements again, basically a lit RPG. This has an anime adaptation, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know anything about it. Before I get into the premise of the book, let's talk about how I'm going to review it. So there's 5 things I look at when reviewing books. I look at the plot, characterization, world building, art, and fan service. The first 3 are what I base my rating score on. The last 2 are for the sake of enjoyment or recommendation. A lot of people don't want to read stuff that has over-the-top fan service. That's kind of it. And yeah, so the premise of this book is that this basically World of Warcraft-esque video game is getting a new update released, and people are logging in to play it, but something happens and everyone's locked into the video game and can't leave, and their lives are now in the video game. So kind of like SAO, but they don't die. If you die in game, you get sent to the temple at the last city you were at, which essentially means the city that you're in, because for the majority of the book, travel between cities is impossible, or takes too long for anyone to really do it. So you get sent back to the temple, and then you lose some of your gear and stuff. The main character and a bunch of other people, like millions of other people, get stuck in the video game, Elder Tales, and then essentially it's a survival situation. There's a few quirks in the world, like food doesn't taste like anything once it's been prepared, probably because they don't really prepare it themselves, or the people that developed the game didn't add that information in. But natural stuff like raw fish, fruits and vegetables do taste like stuff. Salt tastes like stuff, or salt tastes like salt. Anyway, so the main character meets up with these people, and then there's some politics that starts cropping up around the idea of guilds, because whole towns are able to be bought now, but no single player could ever buy it. And so then this becomes a sake of guilds have to buy it, and then from there they're going to develop government and, be the powerhouses and stuff. And yeah, there's also some psychological aspects that are talked about, like the fact that, it's basically anarchy because there's no established government. Everyone just kind of does their own thing. And, what happens? Although nothing happens, really. So that's something that was a missed opportunity in this volume. I assume it's going to be talked about later. But yeah, that's it for the premise. I kind of rambled on. Sorry. Anyway, the evaluation. So plot is really good. I like the way it works. So this is essentially some sort of introspective survival story. So Shiro, the main character, or the person who we get the perspective from, because he's not the only important character, is essentially this like warrior nerdy guy, and he thinks a lot as he does stuff. And he analyzes everything and starts developing, ideas. But he has to focus on surviving. And then he starts assigning himself quests or, you know, things that he has to do in order to somewhat feel normal, I guess. And so basically the majority of the time this book is about grinding up your skills. But it's interesting because you're really thinking about the dynamic between the main character and his two party members, Natsugo and Akatsuki. Natsugo is a knight type character. He's kind of like Reinhardt from Overwatch. Akatsuki, she's kind of like a ninja assassin type of character, and Shiro is an enchanter, which is a type of magic user, but is not the most battle oriented. He's more of a support class character, and so he's kind of the rear guard of the attack group. And Natsugo is the tank, and then Akatsuki is the DPS. It's kind of like I don't know, Reinhardt, Genji, and Zenyatta or something like that. I haven't played Overwatch in a long time, but essentially it's kind of that team build, and they're playing together. And then yeah, they mostly grind. At the end of the book, there is a good there's a traveling plot. They have to go from the city they're in to a different city that takes a trek of about 2 weeks in order to save this girl from their friends that's in their friend's guild, because she's getting harassed, almost raped, because it's an anarchist society at this point, and so they really have to hurry up and save her. And then you meet this other interesting character once they're in that city. He's like a cat guy, but he's like an old person. Yeah, and he's really interesting and funny and like funky, but also very, thought-provoking, I guess. And yeah, so I guess I covered plot and characterization. Oh, well, okay, characterization. I already explained the characters, but the characterization is the best aspect of the book. Everyone is unique. They're all specific. They all have different types of humor. Like, for example, Natsugo is very much like a dude bro. He talks about panties all the time, and he's like very much about positivity and stuff. Shiro is a little bit more like edgy, dark humor. Akatsuki, or Akatsuki, I don't know what the right pronunciation is, would be more of a funny in the sense that she's a deadpan character. Like, everything she says is just like at the right moment to be like funny. And then there's a couple other characters. There's Marielle, who is like the older sister type, but she's the lewd-esque kind of character. Like, she's very like openly sexual. She's always making jokes about how she should go out on a date with them and stuff, or with Shiro or Natsugo and stuff. And then there's her friend, who I think is named Henrietta, who is like the prim and proper Ojo-sama type of character, but she's like also kind of funky. And then the cat guy I mentioned, whose name I can't remember, but they call him Captain. And then the girl they're trying to save is Sarara is the name of the girl they're trying to they're trying to save, who is basically only relevant in the last 2 chapters, but she's there, and I assume that volume 2, since it focuses on the return home, will develop her character more. Yeah, that's basically kind of it for characters. World building, is pretty good. It's not amazing, but the author takes a lot of time to explain the way the character casts, I guess, work, or they're like roles in the game. The way their classes are structured You know, he gives you like a chart at the end of the book and explains every type of class. There's 4 major classes. Warrior, weaponry, recovery, and magic attack. And so from there you can see different things, different strengths and different strategies that develop and stuff. And Shiro, the character, takes a lot of effort to describe it. So the author describes it through Shiro in order to make the reader understand. And I really like that because I'm not a huge gamer, but I do like the almost chess-like aspects of it, where you have to use your skills and your class in order to get the best results. And then it turns into real strategy instead of just like, I'm gonna use raw force to, you know, beat this other guy because I'm stronger than him because my level's higher or whatever. So yeah, I really love that the mechanics get explained a lot. It also, you know, like I said, the world has a couple quirks, like food that's prepared doesn't taste like anything. You can't cook it over fire naturally. You have to use like the cooking skill, which I assume is why it doesn't taste like anything, because you're not really cooking it. You're just like transferring one group of stuff into a different group of stuff, and so it like loses value or something along those lines. And yeah, that's basically it. I rated this a 5. Oh well, I shouldn't say that right now, but whatever, that's basically it. Anyway, the art is very good. Here on the cover, that's Natsugo, that's Shiro, and that's Akatsuki or Akatsuki. And then back here, that's Marielle and Henrietta. And I think that's it. Yeah. So I really like this art style. I like the way that they made the background solid with a different undertone, and then made the characters black and whatever the other color is. I think it's like a light peach brown. And yeah, the illustrations here are pretty good as well. There's no there's a colored illustration, but I think it's wasted because it doesn't show you the characters or anything, you know, truly important. It just gives you like a sunset. Here, look. Okay. So this is a really good scene in the book, which is painted there. But, you know, you don't get a character introduction. You don't really get anything. And then the other side of it is kind of shows you how desolate the landscape turns once people realize what's going on, which is nice, but I would have liked something, you know, a little more compelling, I guess. But the actual illustrations within the book are pretty good. Chapters are divided by these character sheets. Here, let me show you one. That's what I was looking at when I was trying to figure out the names of stuff. So it gives you the character, his name and his race and stuff, and then 3 tools he has, or 3 items. And then there's also regular illustrations within the text. Here, that's Akatsuki after she gets introduced. Let me see if I can find another one. Here's Natsuko fighting some dudes. I should really label these before I record. That'd probably be useful. Here you go. So there's Shiro and Henrietta, and then that's Marielle shoving Natsuko into her chest because she's like the hot mom type, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, there we go. So they're really nice. They're almost cutesy, but they're sharp and crisp. They feel like video game, like, what are they, JRPGs or video game novels, visual novels, like illustrations for that sort of situation, which, given that it's a video game title, it makes sense. And yeah, like I said, I give this a rating of 5. The art is really good. The fan service is there, but it's minimal. Does a guy talk about panties count as fan service even if there's no panties shown? I don't know. That's a question for the scientists, I guess. And yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, I would recommend it. And titles that are similar. So I would say SAO is similar because the premise is basically the same. This is just much more detailed and focused on what it's doing. Infinite Dendrogram is similar in the depth of the video game mechanics, but not much else. The characters are too different. The way the video game works is a bit different. But the sake or the amount of detail the author put into the video game is relatively comparable. So there's that. And yeah, that's basically it. Anyway, see you guys. Bye.